it's not to be a tourist.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a tourist.
Okay.
They come, they buy from you, they go.
Yeah.
We work in Africa and many other places around the world, and we help people like your people. Very remote tribes in the hills, or in the jungles, or in the mountains. And we go there, we spend about a week or 10 days. We talk to the local people. We ask them what they need, what would they need from help, and then we bring help. Do you think your village was like that?
Yeah, they like
They
that.
were like that?
Yeah, they were like that.
We learn that Mai's village isn't far from Sapa, but it's remote in the sense that they don't get visitors. The authorities have a very strict stance towards the Hmong because of their dissident activities during the war. They only allow tourists to a few villages which they select and can easily control. We've reached Mai's home, around 20 kilometers from Sapa, and were warmly welcomed by her family.
So Mai, this is your family?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know their names, even of the children. So you are Mai, any other name?
My first name?
Mai?
Zanki Mai.
Zanki Mai?
Yes.
Okay. And who's this lady?
Sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law?
In-law, sister.
In-law.
My brother,
Yes,
wife.
yes. And what's her name?
Also Mai too.
Mai too.
Okay, my one, my two.
Yeah.
And where are the red moth?
No, we don't have a red moon.
Nothing
We
yet.
have a flower moon.
Flower moth? Yes. I heard about that.
Flower moon, we just have a black market.
And what's the difference?
We have a different, because we have flower moon, we have a black girl, we have everything black. And the flower moon, they have a skirt, they have a many flower, but different color.
Ah, okay. And they speak the same language?
Yeah, the same language.
Men can marry Zhao girl
Yeah.
or Hmong. They marry only Hmong people.
Yeah, now that change. They can marry
They
together.
marry-
They have to change speak teach everything.
What about Hmong with Vietnamese?
Because Vietnamese girls, they're very clever. They know how to do everything. So they want to need the man more money. They want to marry rich.
No, you are very rich girl. You're very smart. Very smart, very intelligent. You speak better English than even the girls in Hanoi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good English here, better here than in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh.
But because in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, they learn from the school.
Yeah.
Now we learn from the church.
Yeah, better. And because you don't speak Vietnamese, your accent is better.
Yeah, we also speak Vietnamese, but we speak local and English also live in.
Easier, yeah.
This is also a tribe that lives way up there in the cold, only ice. You have to dress big fur, so you get warm, because otherwise it's very cold. That's their home. This is what they eat. Raw meat, raw fish. That's in Africa, Bushman.
Oh, too old.
Although she doesn't know how old.
Oh, she doesn't know how old.
See?
Oh,
Congo, Africa.
oh, they don't have a clothes.
No clothes, no.
Girl?
Girl, yeah, doesn't matter. That's Congo to Africa. See? Pygmies, very small people too.
Very small people?
Very small people.
Yeah, maybe.
See tribes everywhere. This is where we go. We go everywhere. See hunters?
They speak English?
Some of them speak English, yes. They hunt with spears and bows.
They're fighting or not?
No, not with them, just animals. They're very peaceful people, just like monk.
This is Sebastian's first contact with the tribe, and he wants to learn as many things as possible about their way of life. The best way to learn these things is to get involved in their daily activities. This mountainous area favours the cultivation of rice on terraces. It rains a lot here, and the rain is easily redirected towards each of the paddy fields, which lessens their workload. Today, Mai's family is planting the rice sprouts on one of the terraces that's been prepared for sowing. It seems that moving around with a basket full of rice on your back isn't the easiest of tasks. After we've planted the rice, Mai takes us to visit her aunts to show us how their famous Hmong fabrics are made.
This is how you start,
Yeah.
right?
First, we start like that.
With this.
Yeah, so,
And then you go like this all the way around
yeah.
until it comes like this.
Yeah.
And this is, and then it turns out,
It's already dry, the indigo, very new.
this is new.
Yeah, make it like a one clove, you see?
Yeah.
This make it for the clove.
And this, okay, yes, you're already sewing this.
Yeah.
And this is colored with the plant.
Yeah, very blue color. You can wash it and you can
Yeah, look. It's coming out.
Yeah, not finished.
Not finished, yes. So this goes like this.
Yeah,
Very nice.
very nice. These are mama, my kid.
You make it?
Yeah.
Yes. And I like the...
You see, very small.
Oh, yeah.
Smell
It
indigo.
smells like indigo, like plant, yeah.
The famous Hmong textiles are all handmade. Mai's aunt is preparing the hemp using a traditional method. This is a dangerous activity, as the rock weighs around 50 pounds and can easily break the woman's legs if she mishandles it. This process softens the hemp. The resulting fibres are then connected together and wound onto reels. The reels are spun into twine and then set out to dry in the sun. Soon this hemp will be woven, dyed dark indigo, and assembled into a beautiful coat which will then be sold in the city market for around $100. It might seem like a lot of money, but such a coat may take about 1 month of work for an entire family. The Hmong tribes have been populating these areas since the mid-18th century. They came from the neighbouring Chinese mountains, prompted by political unrest and in search of more arable land. Today there are over 1.2 million Hmong in Vietnam. Out of these, 3,800 people live in Mai's village, but they don't get to see too much of each other. Their homes are scattered across the mountains, and only close families are grouped together. Their lives revolve around the rice fields. While the women go to town and wear traditional garments, most Hmong men no longer wear traditional clothing as they find European styles more practical. Although they help with the household chores, the men's main job is to work in the rice fields. Water buffaloes are very important here in the mountain terraces, but they don't adapt very well to this cold climate. Few survive up here, so they're very expensive to buy. guide told us there are informants in every village who go and report everything to the police. It seems that our presence has already been noticed.
Once we started to develop a relationship with them, we discovered that we are not allowed to sleep over at night in this village. Apparently there are several villages that are designed to accept tourists. They come 1 or maximum 2 days to sleep in. They buy their crafts and then they move on, but they're all under the control of a travel agent or a guide. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to discover the Hmong people within their lifestyle without the influence of tourists. So we found this village. We found this amazing guide, Mai, who is very intelligent, very smart, and very, very willing to show us her village and her family and so forth.
The next day, Mai and her sister Matisi hike up the mountains to inspect the crops and gather some vegetables for the family lunch. She's 20 years old and still unwed, which is rare in the world of the tribes. It seems the Western trend of delaying marriage has started to affect attitudes around here too. She's one of the more courted girls, and her parents hope to receive around $600 for her. Most girls are married off for close to $200. The Hmong grow hemp and corn everywhere in the nearby mountains, which is why most of the forests have been cut down.
This is what they grow here for their clothes. They're making special clothes. It's a very long process, and they dye it with a special plant to make it blue, the traditional Hmong color. This is actually marijuana. It's widespread all over the place. It's very amazing that nobody smokes it because they only use it for their clothes. It smells delicious.
From the top of the mountain we can see the stunning landscape that surrounds us, and we also notice that Sapa is quite close to their village. Sometimes the men do the cooking. Zato, Matisi's husband, is preparing lunch today. While the women were out gathering vegetables, he slaughtered a piglet. Pigs are important animals for the Hmong, and the fact that he's killed one means that we are honoured guests.
I discovered in their village with their family that they're still the same. They don't change face for the tourists. Many tribes I've been to, they have a face for the tourists to sell crafts and take pictures. They go home, they're different people. These people are very gentle and very nice within their own circles as well. And that is one thing that impressed me with the Hmong tribe. Secondly, I noticed that there is a very clear separation between men's activities, men's responsibilities, and women's responsibility. I like how Mai put it, why men are home and women are selling crafts in the market. And she said that men are stronger, women are not, so we sell and they do the work.
Like in most Asian cuisines, the vegetables are only briefly dipped in hot water and aren't boiled in order to keep the nutrients inside. And of course, rice is present at every meal, as well as large quantities of chili. In order to tone down the chili, Zato chops it up in small pieces, sprinkles it with salt, and pours some hot vegetable broth on the top.
The fact that seeing complete strangers They accepted to their home, and very nicely, Mai put it yesterday for when we were having lunch in her family. I was saying thank you for the meal, and she said, so you see, we're eating in a family here. We never say thank you or please, because it's family. Family does whatever they want. So if you want to eat, no problem. You don't have to say thank you. If you want to go drink water, go drink water. You want to sleep, go sleep. You're a family, so you don't have to always thank us. And that's an amazing insight into their acceptance of who we are and what we do here, to let you open all their doors and invite you in. So that impressed me the most.
Nowadays, even the most remote tribes in Vietnam have access to electricity and foreign television channels. For the time being, TV is dominated by shows from their Chinese neighbours, but as Vietnamese society opens up, Hollywood might soon begin to market their values and lifestyles over here as well, just like everywhere else. The Hmong's first contact with Christianity was through Catholic missionaries in China in the early 17th century. Once they migrated south, they brought the new faith with them, and this is why many Hmong people go to the Catholic Church every Sunday, giving the authorities yet another reason to keep an eye on them. The following day, Sebastian senses a shift in Mai's attitude.
So, what is happening?
So you go to where the girl?
Where's your brother?
The brother already go.
Already go.
It seems the authorities are less than happy with our presence here and have warned them about receiving us into their home. They're also threatening us with a heavy fine.
Okay.
Even though we're not convinced the authorities have the legal means to do anything to us, we know they can harm our friends in the Hmong tribe.
We discovered that we are not allowed to go there anymore. First reason apparently is that the police does not allow us to spend too much time in their village, because what Mai said is that their village doesn't see tourists. As I said, they are designated villages for tourists, and hers is not. Secondly, they also explained to us that some of the other villages or families on the mountain became jealous that they see us coming every day, eating with them, and filming and becoming friends with them, and they reported us to the police. So we have to be very careful not to create problems for their own village, and also not to create troubles with us in our development.
Sebastian knows how the communist system works and decides that the time has come for us to leave. We've just got time for one final meal.
I've encountered situations before in which you really can't leave a volunteer behind, maybe because of the local government situation or because of visas and politics and so forth. That's not a major problem for me. Because we know Mai and we have this friendship that we created between us, I will continue to help him through her, which means that anytime we want to do a project, I will send funding through her, and then she will continue to do this. I trust her fully. In every day that I interacted with her, I never had one sense that she's trying to take advantage of us because we're white and because we're foreigners and maybe we have money and so forth. She never had that intention or had that situation shown to me. So my plan to help them with buffaloes and roofs and education and healthcare can be done through somebody like her or maybe her brother and so forth. So they have possibility of receiving funds here, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Today, 2 years after filming this footage, Sebastian continues his work with other remote tribes around the world, continuing to apply the third way to reach remote tribes.